So, good morning, everyone. So, welcome to today's event. So, before we start, I'm just going to make a very quick introduction of ourselves. So, basically, thank you for joining today's event. So, because I also see some new faces to my knowledge. Right? So, therefore, I will also slightly introduce what is our team, ORKTS and Venture Acceleration team, and that's why we are arranging today's event. So, our Venture Acceleration team under the Office of Research and Knowledge Transfer Service is basically the CUHK central office that is to support everyone, every CUHK affiliate to do all these venture related stuff. So basically, if you have a startup idea, you want to build a startup, you want to find someone to help, find us. This is what we are doing. So no matter you have some sort of like researcher-based background, or you just have an idea, want to have some team building, we are very happy to help. So one kind of help is we are not expert ourselves, we can say. So therefore, we ask a lot of experts, leveraging all your connection with you guys to ask important and knowledgeable people like Wilson today to share some of their knowledge. So particularly for today, Wilson and his team, I actually met with his team in a previous CMA China Manufacturers Association event that we met with FundFluent's team. After the discussion, we know that their expertise, their know-how can be very helpful to our startups, founders, and mindset, and also different skill set that they can equip to us. Particularly for today, Mr. Wilson Tai is the co-founder of FundFluent. So he has a decade of experience in fintech and data advisory. And he also helped a lot of different top-tier institutions across the Asia as well. So therefore, they have also an AI-driven platform to make business funding faster and smarter. So I actually first encountered them in the CMA event, and I'm very impressed by during our discussion, we talk about a lot of how we treat deep tech startup and different things, and I immediately know their know-how, their mindset can be greatly beneficiary to our startup founders. So therefore, without further ado, I will just please join me to welcome Mr. Wilson Tai for today's topic.
Thank you so much for inviting us to be in this workshop. We've been doing a lot of workshop for startups, and the reason behind is just we want to share the journey that we had for the last 5 years, starting from zero. We are from consulting background, so we also help a lot of different like corporate back venture type of startup, starting from 0 to 1, and then now we go through a journey, and there are a lot of mistakes or something that I wish I had done before maybe in the first year or like the second year. So normally this kind of workshop, I make it very practical. But now I know today is in CUHK, so I also include some very standard kind of textbook answers for you to have a more comprehensive view on maybe, so today's business model, right? So I would tell you the like business model 101, why business model validation is very important, and how we normally do validation on the business model practically in a business environment setting. So, before I start, just a brief introduction of ourselves. My name is Wilson, so just what Desmond just introduced. I'm the co-founder and CEO of FundFluent. So, and Gary, he's actually one of the founding members as well. But now he's taking the head of partnership role, and he looks after like all of the channels, customer acquisition channels, finding opportunities to kind of embed our services into the startup ecosystem and the technology partners. And FundFluent, so put it in a very simple way, we help startups and small businesses accessing different funding options across Asia, which includes Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, sometimes Taiwan and China as well. So the logic behind is very simple. When you need to do something for your startup, you need money, right? But that money won't be just coming from one single sources. It might be from investors, it might be from your own pocket. it might be from grants. So our role is to mix and match these options to support your initiative as much as possible. And the mix and match processes is where we build the AI on top. We try to automate every steps when you prepare for like funding application. So for example, if you need to meet investors or even earlier stage, you need to send the first email to the investors. That first email needs to catch the attention of the reader, right? So that's what we do. We have AI to support the first step, outreaching the investors. So at least the investor will be opening your pitch deck and at least spend maybe 2-3 minutes understanding what you are trying to do. So that's what FundFluent is doing. So we build every component, every steps based on the like traditional way, but automated with AI agents or MCP tool or whatever. Yeah, so like I said, the reason why I'm here is we've been like friends and buddies in this startup ecosystem. So we share experiences. I'm not here to be like a professor telling you, hey, what's the textbook answer? Like step 1, you need to validate this. You need to prioritize that. No, that's not what we do. I'm just here to share what we have done before. And because our platform got like 1,500 business actively working with us, we observe the kind of latest news, latest approach that every startup takes, especially recently the evolvement and the revolution of AI, right? The market is just changing so fast. It becomes a speed or velocity that normal startup might not be able to catch up. So what's the practical way to do like business model validation? I can't just go and do like market research for 3 months and then, hey, go back and say, okay, this data shows, okay, this market can work. No, that's 3 months after. And 3 months, it can kind of, the AI can maybe iterate for maybe 3 or 4 rounds already. So no, I'm here to share the experience. And yeah, before we start, because I don't know what you guys are doing, so I prepare a simple Menti questionnaire for you to like, yeah, share a bit what you are doing, and yeah. Can you guys get in? If yes, I'm gonna switch to Menti. Yeah, if you can't get in, you can go to menti.com and put the code in 87560260. Yeah. Yeah, so I have a few questions to the audience here today. So one is I want to understand your role, because different roles have different perspective on the business. So like me, right? I put a lot of my own money into this company. So I care a lot about financials. I care a lot about the operations, efficiency, etc. So yeah, right. Seems we have students with startup ideas. We have founders for sure. Yeah, curious observer, no problem. Yeah, I will just share a lot of, I believe, Stephen, you must be one of the curious observer, right? Yeah, that's good. I think, yeah, today's topic would definitely be super helpful for founders, because if you are a founder, that means either you invest money in your business or you invest time in your business. And definitely you won't want to kind of waste any resources into a company that might not work, or a market that doesn't work, right? And if you are with a startup idea, the last part of the session will be super helpful to you. Basically, I prepare a startup validation checklist. This is not something you might see like easily, can easily find online, because all these questions are the questions that I challenge myself like every quarter, just to review myself, whether I'm doing well or not. So yeah, second part will be super helpful. Yeah, second question. I think you can, in Menti, you can flip to the second one. I also want to understand which stage is your project or startup at. Take ourselves, for example. We raised 2 rounds of funding, not a prize round, but a considerable a few angels invested in us for 2 rounds. We use Save. So we have our own revenue, but we don't have plan to raise a prize round funding yet. So yeah, we are generating revenue. And I see the audience ideas only MVP, have product, generating revenue, that's good. That gives you a good basis before going to the next stage. That's good. Okay, sorry. The third one. So business model, I think in university courses, right, you will always see like, I guess the professor will always share the like business model Canva, and sometimes they share the lean model. You will see like partners, customer segment, value proposition in that canvas, right? So yeah, the question I want to ask here is, yeah, what does business model mean to you? There must be something that, yeah, as a definition from your own perspective. So I see partnership. Partnership is a good one. It is definitely one of the key components in a business model. Profitable, B2C, B2B, how to serve client. I'll give you maybe 30 more seconds. Production chains, oh, that means there are some hardware companies here. Customer needs. Great. Yeah, I like these answers a lot because I think each of the points here touches some of the key factors in a business model. Yeah, even though I said the traditional kind of business model canvas is like a textbook answer, but it actually gives you a very good framework how you look at the business model. So if you look at the text here, I think this is a good thing because it seems everyone has a good understanding on at least some part of the business model, starting from definitely you look at revenue, definitely you look at cost, because those are the two key value drivers of the business model, right? And then when you break it down to like what's driving the revenue behind, it could be the way you serve the client, because you serve the client better, so you can monetize the value you deliver through the way you serve the client, right? Resources, sustainable for sure. Yeah, repeatable, that means the scalability as well, right? So yeah, I think I can cover all these things in the later session very soon. So good. One last question. I want to know one thing that you want to get out of this session. Yeah, if I see something interesting, I might just skip everything. I'll just go for a free flow. Though I'm more used to free flow, but yeah. I'll give you 1 minute. Yeah, what's the one thing you hope to get out of the session? So for me, the one thing I want to get out of the session is definitely meeting more new startups and sharing more. One thing is meeting new startups. If I can choose the second thing, I would say I want some quiet time to look at my own business model again through today's session. The startup is super busy. It's really hard for you to get a quiet time to really look at whether I am doing well for my business model. So, great. How to go from 0 to 1. Funds, methods of validation, some insights on how to lay the first stone. Good. What business model exists? How to approach the potential investors? Right. All right, I'll stop here. Funds for sure. How to approach investors? Yes, I can take it offline. Definitely, I can share a lot about how to do fundraising, how to get the funding because we are FundFluent, right? Definitely, I need to share a lot about funding. But yeah, I will start from business model because before you get the funding, if you look at the validation checklist, so this is actually a checklist I did for another workshop that I ran like a few weeks ago. And the purpose there is also for them to look at themselves. Are they ready for fundraising? So definitely this checklist will be helpful as well. What's the possibility of a successful startup? Good question. I'm asking myself this question as well, Sarah. All right, I think I have a good understanding on what we are looking for today. So let me go back to the main part. So I will start from business model 101. I think, like I said, a business model, normally if you look at the textbook, it looks like this. You always look at the business model canvas. If you are taking some, I don't know, startup 101 course, every time they would just take out a canvas and say, hey, how about you lay out your business and list down the things from a business model canvas perspective. A lot of people told me they don't think this is useful. I would say I'm not really agree with that kind of opinion. So you will definitely see a lot of framework in textbook. But in textbook, the framework is helping you. If you don't have a very organized way to think through a business, then framework is a good thing because it helps you organize. At least it covers, I would say maybe 95% of the things you should look at for a startup. So starting from key partnerships, yeah, this is one of the questions in the previous mentee survey, right? Key partnerships is very important. And activities, what you're gonna do to run or operate this company. Key resources, if you are working on like hardware or software, the resources that you need might be engineers, or you might need a supply chain that can support the innovative product that you can do. I'll skip value proposition to the last, and then look at the right, customer relationship. How you interact with your customers. Basically what it means is how you deliver your value through your own way to the customers. So that creates and build up the customer relationship between your startup and your customers. And channels, among everything other than cost and revenue, nowadays, I would say channel might be one of the most important factors in a startup. So, because nowadays it's very different, right? 10 years ago, the technology, there's no such like ChatGPT, OpenAI, Anthropic, etc., right? So the product development cycle or business development cycle is way longer than before, than now, right? So, but nowadays, because the business cycle is like, you can just build a startup maybe within 1 month, make it production level type of stuff, right? And then if everyone can take up a very good idea and can produce or manufacture a good product easily, then the last question is how are you going to sell it? Which distribution partner you are going to work with? So recently, I would say the most memorable case that I had recently is PodMart. So if you look at PodMart, why they are so good, why they are so popular now, it's not because of you think their artwork is so good, it's because their distribution partner is everywhere now. They didn't plan, they planned the distribution channel not from like, not from the time when you see Lisa take the Labubu, the artist toy, right? No, not from there. They started it from like a few years ago. They start to test the European market, they start to test the US market, and lay out the offline channel, because everyone talking about online, right? But nowadays, online is so competitive. It's really hard for you to kind of spend money and get the traffic. And then it goes back to the traditional model. The offline becomes a very proprietary channel for them to sell their product. So they can test and learn very fast. So I would say in this business model canvas, channel is one thing that you might need to spend more time on before you develop something. If you don't have your specific or your proprietary or you are kind of, so like us, we do have a lot of strategic partnership, which might have some synergies between our solutions or services. And that gives us a more stable and more options when we go to market and sell our services. So yeah, I see a lot of startups which have a very good product, which are the technology is just so good. They can definitely solve the problem they are trying to solve, but the distribution part becomes the blocker. So channel is one of the thing. Cost and revenue, for sure. And then the last part I want to share is the value proposition. So value proposition is a term, I don't think a lot of people really understand what value proposition means, but you can put it in a very, really simple way. Basically, it's just the value you're trying to deliver to the client. And the value is a function of a bunch of factors. You are creating your defensibility, or you are creating some marginal value on top. So for me, it's like an aggregation of the marginal value of everything that you build, no matter it is about cost, no matter it is about revenue. So yeah, so this is what I said about business model 101, because you should have a very good understanding on each of the components here by looking at your business. If you have any one of the component you can't answer clearly for your startup, go back and discuss with if you have a co-founder, go and chat with your co-founder, really lay out the details in this sheet. It's very traditional, but it's helpful. Yeah, not everyone is a good planner, or so you need to find a way to look at your business model in detail. I heard a lot of startups say, hey, no, this is so traditional. I'm not doing this because I'm going to build fast and I'm going to test, iterate with the market. I'm not against that type of methodology, but I think there are some trade-offs. Before you go fast, you still need to have a very good foundation of what you are trying to deliver to the market. I can always test fast. I can always validate very fast. I can just build a landing page maybe tonight and then test it tomorrow, right? But I don't know what I'm testing. After the test, what do I get from that testing, right? So yeah, building a business model foundation, just conceptually, it will help you a lot. And you will also see this version. This is the lean canvas. It's just another kind of presentation way of a business model. So I'm not gonna explain this one, but yeah, but for me, business model is not just like boxes. It's basically how you win. So like after these years, I think one of the most important thing that I get from the business model is, a business model is actually a aggregation or a summation of all the marginal advantage from each of the component. So take ourselves, for example. Initially, I thought our company is a technology company. So I do invested a lot, including my money and Gary's money for sure, so we start from like pre-GPT era, and then we try to build some like natural language model, try to do some text mining, processing a lot of documents automatically. But when GPT comes out, we know, no, there's a huge gap between the solution we bring to the market and the real solution to solve the problem statement we are trying to solve. So yeah, so that's one thing. We thought we are a technology company, so I invest a lot to try to build advantage on top of the technical stuff. But that doesn't work because the capital I invest in, maybe every dollar I put in, the return maybe is just I don't know, one of the 1,000. I don't know, very minimal. There's no impact basically. So at that, when GPT comes out, I look back at my business model. What are we good at? And what are we going to put the money in? So one thing that we are very good at is we are very friendly. So if you look back the business model, the investment I put in, one is the customer relationship. So I chose to build more defensibility in terms of the way I serve the client. We are not a technology company anymore. We are kind of a mixed model. We have a lot of AI and automation behind, but the way we deliver the value is through customer relationship. We are friendly, we are very close to startups, and we are honest, we are transparent. So these are the one of the advantage that we're building. So this is just one of the example. So the advantage can come from somewhere else as well. So if you are a hardware company, it might be from the key resources, the supply chain that you have, so you can control the cost, or you can have a lower MOQ compared to your competitors. So I'm gonna take PodMart again as an example, because I've been studying their business model for quite a while. So the reason why they are so good, not just because of the distribution partner. So for the last few years, they kind of build up their supply chain by themselves. So they don't need to rely on any kind of external suppliers or the factories to build the product with higher MOQ requirement. So if you look at the price they are selling, because the toy artists, the cost of each of the toys is really high actually. They don't have their own factory, so they always need to kind of create a mold and then create a new production line if there's a new product, right? And so PodMart's cost of manufacturing is just 1/3 of a normal artist in the market. So that's why they start to build their advantage, and that's their business model, right? So their business model, two of the component is their distribution channel. Definitely artists as well. They for the last few years, they've been signing different kind of agent contract or even the transfer of the IP to PodMart. So they are the holder of the IP. So now their business model is very simple. They have a group of artists which they own the IP, and then they have the distribution channel, they have the supply chain. So that becomes their kind of triangle type of business model for the kind of advantage they have. So yeah, but back to the topic for this workshop. It's business model validation, right? And the reason why we need to do business model validation is it's very simple. You just can't afford to build everything and test everything. Yeah. I do say you need to look at every component of your business model canvas. But yeah, if I have unlimited resources and money, definitely I want to test everything. And yeah, I just build teams for every component. I just test out all the assumption before I really invest into any money, right? But no, startups can't do that. Yeah, there are a lot of uncertainties. There are a lot of constraints. We have very limited resources in terms of the talent, the time, or whatever. We are not like big companies. In big companies, we can do a lot of testing. And for a big company, if I fail a project, then it's fine. It's just a project. And the organization can still learn from the mistake, right? But I would say startup doesn't have the luxury to test so many times. You have only maybe 1 or 2 years time window for you to test and learn with lower cost. So yeah, you can't afford. But every assumption that you don't validate, it will become a potential risk, right? This workshop, what I'm trying to do is to tell you how you reduce the uncertainty with some affordable way that you can consider. So so this is the business model, and then the next is how we validate, right? Before I go into the validation part, any questions about the business model? Because I know there are some founders with ideas only. So I want to kind of spend maybe 1-2 minutes, just see if you got any questions about business model. It can be something out of the canvas as well. No? Sure. No problem. We can still kind of take the questions offline, so no problem. Then let's go to the validation part. So I think for the business model validation, I want to kind of share two things. One is what are the things you can validate, and secondly is the options for you to do the validation or testing. You can say it is customer validation or whatever. So I'll start from what could be validated. So if you look at this table, it's just a very simple table because I don't want to make it too pretty because it's a very practical workshop. So the area that you can see is basically something that you can see from the business model canvas. So every factors that you can think of in your business model, everything can be tested. But what you need to consider is the cost, the speed, and the value you gain from that validation activity. Yeah, because I can do a lot of, for example, like I said, I can create a landing page very quick, right? And then get some insights of maybe customer behavior, or you might say, hey, I want to test whether pay ads work or not. But I would say, if you are going to test pay ads, that might not be a good approach, because if you don't spend enough on pay ads, the ROI just doesn't prove anything. Yeah, because initially, like Facebook or Meta or whatever social media platform, when you start spend money, they will give you some benefit as you are the newbie in that channel. So they will give you like bonus traffic from that perspective. So that number doesn't count at all. So here, this table, I will explain it to you, explain every area to you one by one with a practical example that I walked through before. But if you have any question, stop me anytime. And if you have anything that you think, hey, it's not on the list, tell me, and I will try to share whatever experience that I have for your reference. So I will start from the first one. So the first thing that we would test is problem. So investors always, the first thing they will ask is this pain point painful enough? So the assumption to test is, yeah, the problem is painful and urgent. If it is something that is not urgent, it's not painful, I won't say this is like a binary answer saying yes or no, but that definitely reduces the chance for this business model to work, right? If there's no urgency, if there's not painful, it might also affect the willingness to pay or the willingness to use your solution. So what I did before, so FundFluent is not the first startup that I tried. I think the first startup, I would say it's a startup. The first idea that I wanted to try is a wedding platform. I don't know why it's a wedding platform, but it's a wedding platform. So what I did at that point in time is, in Wan Chai, like every quarter there's a, I think it's a wedding expo or something. So I just go there and just randomly ask the couples and ask them a bunch of questions like, hey, we are a startup, we are trying to do this. Can you give us some honest feedback whether this works for you? Because the target audience is there. So the way to validate your problem, one, be honest to yourself. Because I see a lot of startups, they say, oh, my target customers are maybe, so for example, students who is in year 3 or someone who is in the legal world, age 25 to 30. But when I drill down to the details, they just can't tell me who they are really targeting. So if you don't know who you are targeting, the first approach, I say target 10 customers, right? Target users. That seems very simple, but the hardest part is for you to be honest to yourself and to be true to your heart and say, hey, this is really the target persona I'm looking at. And when you define the persona, then another problem is how are you going to find the testers with which is aligned with the persona you are targeting. And that's the time you can really get the answer and validate the problem statement. So validating a problem, the challenge doesn't come from the problem itself. The challenge comes from whether you have a really comprehensive and detailed picture of the persona you are targeting. So that's the one thing I want to kind of share for the first one. And it comes down to the second one, right? The customer segment. Okay, assume you really have a really good understanding on who you're targeting. The second thing is, whether this segment shows interest of your solution, right, of your product or of your proposition. So this could be done in a very simple way as well. So now I just share the physical way, right? You can also do some like questionnaire survey for sure, but how they validate, the key part is how you design the questionnaire. Sometimes the questionnaire or the survey a startup did is kind of a lot of leading questions in the survey. So when you see the result, I seldom see a startup taking a survey result out and tell me, hey, the result doesn't show the interest. I don't know why. They always come say, hey, the survey shows a good result. But when I look at the questionnaires or the design of the survey, there are a lot of leading questions. So which might create some bias for you to say, hey, this customer segment really are really interested in what we are doing. So my suggestion is to be true, be honest to yourself. If you talk with your target customer segment, you will feel whether they are really interested or not. You can really feel it. It's very not scientific. Data can tell you something, but in the end, I would still say, try to talk with the maybe 5 to 10 potential customers who are willing to give you honest feedback. And that's the time you can really validate whether this customer segment is your target initially or not. And then revenue model channel, I think I share something when I talk about the business model. So I'm not gonna talk about this. What I want to talk about is the founder team feed. So I'm gonna skip revenue channel because I know there's a time limit. So I'm gonna skip revenue model channel and go-to-market strategy because the answers are there. I want to talk about founding team feed. It is a thing that you seldom see when you talk about business model validation. But for the last 5 years, especially for the startups who started with the same batch like us, a lot of them are gone. And the main reason, there are some arguments with the founding team. So the founding team feed, if you are still at the ideation stage or at the very early stage where you haven't get the shareholder agreement or founders agreement signed, this might be a very good timing for you to talk with your partners and really stress test each other. At least in Hong Kong, I think this is the most commonly seen failure reason for a business, just the argument with the partners. So the way you test it, I write a very textbook answer. Run a stress test, talk about money, equity, worst case scenario, decision rules. No, they all don't work. So you have to, I will share my own way. So we do have some not argument, but definitely some misalignment among our founding team after the first year running of the business. So the argument comes from which segment we should focus, and the way we treat the customer or the value system that we believe in. So what I did at that point of time is I become the bad cop and raise the conversation starting from day one, we have to be very transparent. We have to share every result. And then at the end of the first year, what we do is I arrange a call and I say, the first thing is, no, we got to reallocate the whole shares to one major shareholder. So that founder can make the decisions for the company. And I also stress test the team a lot during the day-to-day processes. And I try to establish some rules on a day-to-day basis, like standard processes, how we make a decision, and see the reaction from your partners. There's no scientific way, but day-to-day interaction, not just about work, but also how they treat their friends, how they treat their business partner before, what's their working style. If there's anything that you feel uncomfortable, raise it out as early as possible. Because in my mind, running a startup with partners is like a marriage. So you have to choose your partner wisely so you won't get into some troubles in the long term, right? So this is one thing that I truly suggest you, if you are running a startup, no matter you are going for a like VC route or you are just running a like sustainable business, revenue generating, bootstrapping type of model, it doesn't matter. If you have partners, business partners, do look at yourselves whether this partner is the one you want to work with for the next 10 years. And yeah, the reason why I say 10 years is I don't really believe in a startup can recently definitely you can see some like rare successful case. Oh, I sold a company within 6 months to OpenAI or something. But that won't. I don't think that will happen very frequently. Yeah, so don't think about that. Normally a startup, if you need to make it work, I think 5 years is normal. 10 years. It is basically the commitment you need to have for your startup. So all these numbers can be the stress test you have for you, yourself, and your partners. So founding team fit, that's one. The next one I want to talk a bit as well, skill gaps. So this also requires some good observation on what you are good at and also what you are not good at. Startup is not like enterprise, right? Enterprise, I have money, so I can always pay and get the talent that I don't have, right? So that's very different. Because when I see there's a gap, no, I have time. I'm cash. I have a lot of cash. So I just get the talents from the market. I just spend some time. I can still kind of get back to the market and play with the competitors. But startup doesn't have the luxury. So especially for the first maybe 1 or 2 years when you build up the core business model, you won't be able to afford like maybe a CTO or some talents from the market and you just feeling very happy. Hey, I'm the boss. I'm just giving order to the team. No, you are the builder. So you have to look at what you are good at. If you are good at technology, then that's good. And if you look at your partners, they are good at business, then find out what you are good at and invest in it. Build your defensibility based on your core skill. And don't invest in something that you are not good at. So, okay, be very honest to myself. I said it right. Initially, we thought we are a technology company, right? I do want to play a World Cup. I do want to compete with the companies in Silicon Valley for sure. But looking back at the skills of the founding team, what we are actually good at is we are not bad at technology, but it's definitely not top tier in the world. So if I'm looking at the World Cup and I don't have the top tier, like tier 1, I'm not playing NBA, right? I'm still playing maybe, I'm not using CBA, but yeah, maybe I'm still playing local tournament or something. So when I look at my team, no, we are good at business development. We are good at talking about partnerships. We are good at imagining different type of strategic partnership model and create some new product, but not the technical part. I do want to, because AI is fancy, right? I do want to tell people, hey, I built a new transformer and I'm looking at the layers, the node, I'm tweaking the weights between, so the model performs so well. I do want to say that because I want to position myself as a technical guy, right? But no, that's not the edge that I have. If I'm putting my money into something that I'm not good at, what I'm doing, right? Because those geniuses, they also spend a lot of time on shaping their skills. So do look at the skill gaps and either you try to fill in the gap by hiring someone in the future or if there's no gap, then that's good. That might be something that you should invest your time and money in. And yeah, the validation that I did was through throwing some money in some features, some products, and really look at the result. So skill gaps. Operation model. This one, I would say it depends on the business model you are working. So if you are a technology company, like software company, you might want to look at how fast you can ship a feature or ship a product. Because I think technically there are always a lot of discussion on whether we should build a foundation right, and then spend maybe 1 or 2 years build a foundation. So maybe in the future we can run faster. This is one way, but there are also some discussion around, no, we should just build quick and dirty and go to the market as soon as possible. That works as well. So what I'm trying to say is the operation model, you really need to test with real cases. So if you're a service company, try with maybe 3 to 5 real user. If you're a technology company, try to ship the product in the way you design and observe the velocity of the team. Yeah, because one thing that I observe, I think it's commonly seen in Hong Kong, just the way the business person works, working with the engineers. Sometimes it's always the business person, throwing the requirements to the engineers and say, hey, ship this within maybe next 2 sprints, or ship it by the end of the month, etc. That doesn't work. That's not the validation of the operation model. If I just need someone who builds things, then I just find someone outsourced to maybe Vietnam, or I just outsource it to India, right? So the operation model needs to be validated in the way you expect it to be. So yeah, so here my validation example is say, hey, how to manually run the operation for 3 to 5 times. So if it's a product, then maybe build 3 to 5 features and observe how the team interact to each other. Other stuff I'm gonna skip the legal, partnership strategy, or market size, because those are more straightforward. So yeah, these are the things that can be validated. Definitely, there are a lot of details you can validate it, that you can validate in the future. So I think the way you look at what you can validate is break down the business model into details. So if you want to validate the revenue, then you are not designing a validation framework saying, okay, I'm gonna validate the revenue just based on the top line number. No, if you are looking at the revenue, the first step you need to do is break down the revenue, find out the value driver you have now or you want to build in the future. And then you test and validate against all those value drivers behind. So this is what can be validated. Any area that you want to, you have questions about?
Yeah, so on top of a lot of people that I've been working with, I'll just take the audacity to ask the question for some of the previous teams that I've helped with. So I think one big thing is for some like more startup students wants to do a startup idea, they often ask me, there is a term that's called solopreneur. So basically, because founding team fit is difficult. Okay, so my assumption is I don't find any partners, so to speak. What is your take on, like, instead of founding team members to find someone to work with, I'm just going to go solo myself. What's your take on this thing?
Understood. So I think it depends on your business model, right? So I think a few things. One, look at yourself, what you are good at. If you are good at the business model, business development or selling products, then one, find a thing that you are passionate about. If you really want to do it by yourself, then don't choose something that you don't love. Choose something you are really passionate about, then you will really find a way to build it. And secondly, I think nowadays there are a lot of like fractional service that you can consider. If you are a solo founder and they say, hey, I don't have the technical background, if at initial stage, like the validation or testing stage or MVP stage, you can definitely outsource basically everything to those fractional service providers, engineers, operations, like FundFluent. So our operations are in Philippines, engineers are in Taiwan. In Hong Kong, we only have the founding team because the position of the Hong Kong market is business development partnership, and it's more like a headquarter giving orders to different jurisdictions team. So yeah, solopreneur, especially nowadays, no, the AI tool is just so good. Vibe coding or vibe whatever. Yeah, you can just vibe whatever thing, right? So solopreneur, I think this is definitely a thing that everyone can consider. Yeah.
I see. So another questions will be, it's also serve my personal interest. So basically what we are doing here, we always help with a lot of professor-led teams that is converted from professors' research and then find some founding team members to try to make professors' ideas to really become a commercializable thing. So this also driven, I previously, in one of my discussion with some of my friends, we talk about it. So these we thought is like a deep tech based companies, deep tech startups. Deep tech startups comes from an original research, then try to navigate to find a problem to work along it. Typical startups usually starts from a pain point first, and then you design your solution, find what you are good at that you can provide value to these persons. So we can see that this is the biggest way, the biggest difference of deep tech startups and the startups. So in my personal experience, what we try to tell the teams is we ask them to like test fast, fail fast. This is what we always tell them because we can see that their good things is on the tech lead. So in terms of your business model canvas, the advantage is the technology. So what do you, I mean, in your experience, you must be seeing some of the deep tech founders as well. So how did you advise them?
So my advice is always be true to your objective. So especially for the university team, I see a lot of different type of teams. One of the type might be, no, they are just coming for maybe R&D funding. So investors is a good source of funding for the professor to do the research. The professor doesn't really care about the commercial model. He just needs some money to feed the team, feed the. If I'm being too honest, that's one type. The second type is some of the professors, they do want to commercialize some of the things. They do want to tap into the business market. So my suggestion to this type of team is find out the target customer as soon as possible. Because, for example, clinic research, medical tech, it's very different from you are doing the like B2C type of market, right? The exit of this type of model, especially it is deep tech. So advantage comes from deep tech. It's very hard for a deep tech company just go to IPO or go to the public market directly because it requires more than just the technology. You really need some business model running on, etc. So the natural path of this type of team is being merged or acquired by big companies, enterprise. So if you know the end game is being merged by some companies, right? Go and research who you are going to sell to and build a solution to that specific company and start to sell your solution from day one. Because you don't need to kind of go to market and test, right? You know this is the only one who can pay the money.
Yes.
So go to the market is not necessary. You just go and find out the decision maker, start the conversation from day one. And then when they have the willingness to say, hey, okay, this is the time I want to kind of get your solution in-house, then yeah, then that's the solution to make. And the third one is definitely like you say, startups, right? So the normal startup or deep tech startup, and it's not like a professor team or university team, then it really depends on the business model you are trying to run. What I'm saying, the business model is, are you running a software model? Then yes, definitely test fast and fail fast. Hardware, there are a lot of upfront capital you need to put in. So you might not be able to go for like, test fast and learn fast type of model. You will get broke very fast, I'm sure, but maybe not getting any good result from that. So and also for like medtech or biotech, you can't fail fast, right? Because there are a lot of testing experiment you need to do. Definitely AI can help, but my suggestion is, it really depends on your business model, but do leverage more advanced like AI technology, because like software, right? One of the latest kind of testing approach is we basically don't build anything, and we know who our target customer is like, right? So we ask AI to kind of mimic the persona we are trying to test, and we ask AI to come to test and tell us whether the AI likes our product or likes our proposition. That I tested with, that really gives us some insights, because AI is really good at mimicking some of the persona you design for it, right? So you can treat it as the kind of like a I don't know, digital or a virtual version of your customer, and try to challenge that customer with your value proposition. If the AI say it doesn't work, that might be the time you think again whether your product proposition works or not.
So AI really does help a lot in these validation methods. Totally. It does. And also I also want to open the questions to the floor. See if there are some questions.
Hello, can you hear me? Thank you very much. And I love your presentation and very clear explanation. And pretty impressive. And I want to focus more again on the fund and the team member part, because we sometimes see some one-man band entrepreneurs, like they have been running their business for a while, like a few months or a year, and then also secure a certain amount of funding, and then probably they are ready for growing their business, and then they try to identify other co-founding members, maybe, or core members, but because they themselves are the ideas owners, and sometimes they find it pretty hard to find the right members. And then do you have any suggestions on this, like the channels or any methods for them to find their members? Thank you very much.
Right. So I will separate it two things. One is about the it's hard to find the partners. So I would say don't rush for it, because like I said, it's like a marriage, right? You can't just rush into a marriage maybe within 1 or 2 months. If you find anything that you feel a bit concerned or you feel a bit uncomfortable, that's a red flag. Any little tiny bit of uncomfortable things, that's a red flag. I basically just kind of rule it out as a partner. It can be an employee. If you got funding, then it might not be kind of a must-have thing to have a partner. You can have a really good, like, early stage founding team member. You pay them salary. You give them like employee options of your shares, and try to get some kind of emotional attachment from them, so they can support the startup. So that's the first part. It's hard, so spend some time to do it. And the second question is, what are the channels to find partners, right? I would say there's no right answer, but my preference is find someone who has or have worked with you in a very stressful environment. That would be my answer. Because a lot of things, like myself, right? I can control my emotion very well. So I can basically fake anyone who wants to work with me and pretend to be very good. No, I'm just joking, but I can really do that. I don't do that. So it's really hard to see someone's what he really thinks without any stress. So if you have worked with someone who are under a very stressful environment, not just working environment, maybe something personal as well, that's the time you can see the true personality or the way your partner handles very difficult situation. Because startup is, I'm not saying startup is like the most stressful thing in the world. No, but there are a lot of random things happening in the startup world, and a lot of things just out of your control. That would kind of create a lot of stress onto your business and on a personal or business level. It's not saying the problem is super hard to solve. No, it's just sometimes the things coming in too random way, and it's all out of your control, and you just can't solve it. So sometimes I just put it away and say, hey, no, I got my prioritization, so I don't do it because I have a good prioritization mechanism. But yeah, stressful environment is a good way to test your, I won't say it's test, to see if this is a good partner to work with. Yeah. So I will move on.
Yeah, move on.
Sure. I think I will share the material with you later, so I'm not going to the details like all of the validation options. You can take a look. Yeah, we will share the material later, right? So I can skip this. Yeah. So what I want to share is the last one, some lightweight or low resource methods for validation. Because for the first two, these are very kind of standard answer you can find anywhere by Google search. But the last one, I think is more practical. Because when you look at those validation approach, you always find it, no, I don't have money and I don't have time. And then how can I do this type of validation, right? I do have the same problems as well. They are in our backlog, in my backlog, I think there are like hundreds of assumptions that I want to test for the last few years, but I never made it just because I don't have time. So yeah, so the approach that I took is very not scientific. I just go and test with my customers. I just go out and face the end customers that we have or the partners that I have. And I always being very transparent and willing to take feedback. If my customers say, hey, you're just doing so shit, I say, good. Okay, I'm gonna take this as a feedback and go back and see how we can solve that problem. But yeah, here what I list is some lightweight approach, starting from direct message. Direct message is definitely a good and low cost way. LinkedIn is a very, I don't know whether your audience will be on LinkedIn or not, but if they are on LinkedIn, LinkedIn direct message and arrange a call with a very sincere way. Don't do something like ask AI to create a message for you and reach out to some like very precious customers that you want to target. I think, I don't know if you can do it, but I can always tell whether the message is AI generated message or not. And when I find it like an AI generated message, in general, I just kind of skip it in a way. I would rather talk to a real human than a AI generated message, because the time they invest or the time I invest is kind of the commitment or the long-term partnership that we can sustain, right? So, but DM is a really good way. You don't need to build anything. The first thing you need to do in a DM is the way how you articulate your product or value proposition well. If you cannot articulate your product proposition and help your customer understand with just one sentence, then I don't think you need to build anything. Yeah, you have to articulate your proposition well first, so someone is willing to talk to you. That's the first validation you can do. Very light, no cost. You don't even need to build a landing page. It's just text-based, right? So that's the first approach of direct message. Survey, no. Pitch deck, the third one. I want to talk about pitch deck a bit. I do have a lot of sharing from our customers saying, hey, those like Cyberport, Science Park type of program doesn't help at all. They are too rigid. They look at my business model, seems they don't understand what I'm trying to do, etc. This kind of, I won't say it's complaint, it's a kind of feedback, right? But that's not how I see these programs. Because these programs force you to prepare the pitch deck. And the pitch deck is actually a presentation of your business model and whether you can articulate or explain your business model clearly so someone can really understand. My experience is if you can't prepare the kind of cyberport or science part level pitch deck well, you can't talk to investor at all. The investor is harsh. They are super busy. And definitely they are not active recently, but in the end, if you are facing like, not necessary to be VC, even your like angel investors or like friends and family, you still have the responsibility to give them the like a fair return for their money, right? They are not giving their, they are good. Friends and family can always like support you in a way. They don't ask for fee, they don't ask for like return or something. But no, as a startup founder, I think you have to be very responsible for the money that you take. So that shows the time you spend on the pitch deck as well. Because they also want to understand what you're trying to do. So pitch deck is a way. You don't need to build anything. Just articulate your idea and your solution well. Take it to someone who is interested in your business model and explain to them. You can definitely see from their face whether they want to listen to what you're trying to sell or not. So pitch deck is a good way, very low cost. Lastly, I think the last one is very important as well. The question about would you introduce this to a friend? Because for, especially in B2B world, if someone asks me to refer a partner or a solution provider or service provider to someone else, I will be very careful just because if I don't know what this business is doing and maybe it's doing something like fraudulent activities or whatever, or it can't deliver the service that my friends are expecting, then that is a kind of risk to our brand or our reputation. So this is also a good testing. If they are willing to introduce this to a friend, that means there are something. Maybe you know your product is not good, but if they are willing to introduce, that means there are something or there are some value they can see from your business or from the founders, right? So so the reason why I want to highlight the lightweight approach is if you are at the ideation stage or pre-revenue stage, I always choose the low-cost way to do the validation because there are so many ways you can do it. So don't spend money, don't build too many things just for the validation purpose. There are always a lot of ways to give you a lot of indication whether this works or not. I'll share this with you. I'm not going to explain. This is just a very simple kind of decision flow. Which approach you should take for the validation. No, I'm not going to show it. Too small. I think we have around 10 minutes left, right? So the last part, I want to go through this like startup validation list with you. Before we start, let me give you some context of this validation list. So last time when I run that workshop, it was for a bunch of startup who some of them are fundraising, some of them are kind of struggling on whether they should work with this partner or not. Some of them are asking, hey, I don't know how to go to market, what's the distribution channel, etc. So my answer to this type of startup is during that workshop, maybe that's a good timing for them to look back, be honest to themselves and look at every questions that are listed here and see where they are. And then when they find out the gap, they can kind of design a really, or they can find out the top two kind of strongest area they have. And also they can find out the weakest spot they have in their business model. So that's the context of that workshop. So I'm gonna quickly walk through the checklist with you. And you can definitely do it. It can be quickly done by yourself, but I will explain a bit about the background so you know what it means behind each of the question there. So the first one is, do you have relevant experience with this problem or market? This is basically the founder market fit. If you are working on some passionate project, but which you are not good at, my suggestion is think again whether you should invest your time in this market or not. Because if you are going for the investment route, like fundraising route, right? The investors are very harsh in a way. They would definitely look at whether you have relevant education background, whether you have some professional service experiences in this segment that you're targeting, etc. They look at the team. Because at the early stage, the product doesn't really matter in a way because it's still very early. I don't know whether this product works. So the only factors that I can evaluate a team is, the founder. And so I look at the founder's experience, whether they are relevant to the problem. So this is the first one, basically look at the founder market fit. The second one is there a large or fast growing opportunity here? This is super important. I think all of you must have prepared pitch deck before, right? There's always one slide talking about market sizing, and it's always about 10% some, right? And I think the most important number you need to look at is TAM. If the TAM is not big enough, think twice whether this is the market you are trying to solve. Because the problem can be very painful. But if the market size is just too small, then there's no business model there. Yeah, because you need to feed the team. You need to get the business model kind of commercially sustainable. Then if the market is not huge enough, maybe that's not the route you should play, especially you are fundraising. If you are making a bootstrap or kind of traditional just self-revenue generating model, I don't think the TAM does matter a lot. Because my personal view is every business model works as long as you can execute. It's just how much profit you can earn. And so basically it's the potential. So it's not about whether business model work, but if you are going to fundraising, then TAM, the total available market is very important. The third one, I think I talked about this before. No, it's just how painful it is for the problem statement. I'm gonna skip this. And number four is important. Who else is solving this and how are you different? Recently, I've kind of more focusing on competitive advantage. Because I think in the end, because I look at two things very carefully. One is whether I can kind of seize or hold the pricing power in the market. And for me to have the pricing, kind of have a say of the pricing in this market, I need to build up the competitive advantage. Something that I am the best in the market, so someone else can't just throw a price very low and tap into my target segment, right? So question number 4 is really about one, who else is solving this? Look at your competitor, and find out your edge, and that edge will become some of the bargaining power or some of the pricing power you have in the market. And other than that, having competitor is very important. One thing I want to remind is a lot of my startup friends tell me, hey, I don't have any competitor in the market. I don't know if you heard about this, but having no competitor is crazy, because I think there are only 2 reasons having that answer. One is either there's no market or you didn't do any market research. So that's why you come up with an answer. I think everything got a competitor in a way. It's just whether they service to the market or not. So that's number 4. Number 5 is, do you or your peers feel a strong need for this? I'm gonna skip this. This is very simple, but this is talking about the partners. Like me and my partner, we are very passionate in helping small businesses, and we are aligned in that value in this business model. But you do need to stress test yourself. Are you really enjoying solving the problem that you're trying to solve now. Number 6 is about timing. Whether this is the right time to build this. I would say it's a question that not everyone can really have a correct answer, but do look at the market and do be sensitive to the market, like AI, right? I keep talking about AI because recently the AI news is just too much. But if you look at the recent kind of progress of OpenAI, Anthropic, basically leading AI company, every time they release a new feature, that kills a bunch of startups working on the same area. Yeah, because when GPT-3 or GPT-2 comes out, there wasn't too much like video kind of generating or image generating type of companies, right? So there are a bunch of open AI, I would say AI wrapper type of company built on top of their API and make it like a fancy product, right? But when OpenAI released some new thing, it just gone because there's no business model, because OpenAI's model is definitely way better than what they're trying to do. So timing is one thing. And here, I think if you are working on something more like RegTech, like regulatory stuff, then it's very predictable. So if you look at financial service, the regulatory requirement always comes like 5 years ahead. So if there's something happening in maybe 5 years later, there are always like consultation paper happening maybe 5 years before. So there are a lot of companies building like fintech solution toward the kind of angle of that regulatory landscape. So so that's why I put regulation here, because regulation is not that fast changing. So you can definitely predict what would happen maybe in 5 years or 10 years time. Yeah. So if you, for example, if you are working in maybe battery or green tech type of industry, then definitely you will know maybe 2030 in Europe, maybe all of the trucks has to be like electronic based, etc. So regulatory landscape. Number 7, successful parallels. So look at your segment and see if there's anyone exit successfully. That will be a good sign for your business model. Number 8, highlight. Are you ready to work on this long term? Commitment is needed. Me and my partner, no, we don't have any plan to quit and take another full-time job. We can do that anytime we want. But no, the commitment we have is the worst case is this company will have only me and my partner, which is Jenny. So Jenny and me, we can be the only two left in the company and keep running the company in a very low-cost way. But we don't have a plan to kind of close down because of any reason. So that's the commitment level we have, 10 years or more. This is a really good question that you should ask yourself. If you are going to do like startup, are you going to commit it like 5-10 years to solve the problem fundamentally? Number 9 is about scalability. No, I'm not going to talk about this. It's very straightforward. The last one is still about the market trend. It's this kind of the idea that tends to produce successful companies. I would say for the last maybe like 2022, 2021, software companies must be a thing. But in the coming years, if you are working in software, I would say be careful. Because software, I think the landscape is going to change drastically compared to like 10 years, last 10 years because of AI. And the way the user interacts with the solution is the expectation is very different as well. Everyone is expecting something as good as ChatGPT or DeepSeek. That creates a really huge challenge to software companies. Similar for other kind of industry as well. So definitely look at whether this is something that might be successful in the coming 5 to 10 years. So yeah, just quickly walk through this validation list. I think the most important thing is when you look at the list, you don't need to be kind of package anything. Just be honest to yourself. Yeah, if you feel, no, my business model is shit, then it is shit. It is bad, and then it is bad. Yeah, every year, like every quarter, I would do like a one-to-one with my partner, and we just review each other's performance and look at the business. Yeah, oh, you are taking the marketing role, but why isn't there any leads coming from that channel? Look at the number, be harsh to yourself, and don't take it personally when you talk with your partner. Put everything in a very professional setup. And yeah, that's hard, but yeah, a lot of people will take it personally and become kind of emotional in a way. No, if you can do it, separate your personal feeling to what you're trying to do with your business. That will help a lot. Yeah. So this is just final thoughts. Yeah, the first point, you're not validating a product, you are validating a company. Validating a product, I would say, is not that complicated, but company got a lot of different factors. Even the interaction, the chemistry of the team, the operating model, etc. So yeah, always remember, even you are a startup, you are building a business. You are not just building a product, especially from an investor's perspective. Some investors cares about product, but most of them know they don't care about what product you are building. They are looking at your business as a company. So yeah, what's the return you can create? What's the value you can create for the shareholder? In the end, it's all about the shareholder value, right? Or the value of the company. So you have to look at it really like a company. And secondly is, I say progress equals to reduce risk, because we are talking about business validation, right? So every validation you do is to reduce the uncertainty, reduce the risk that might fail the company. Not just about more features. I did something wrong before, just because the like building too many features. That creates a lot of, I would say, blockers and slows us down a lot. So yeah, progress is, as long as the more validation or more risk you can remove from the formula, that is a progress already. Yeah, and lastly, it's just small testing. Yeah, and it will save you some big mistakes. Again, my highlight would be the founder validation, the team validation, because I don't know whether you have signed kind of like shareholder agreement or founders agreement. I would strongly suggest take that as the first validation of the team when you talk, especially when you talk about the shareholder percentage, because that's the first thing that would trigger a very stressful conversation to your partners. And at that point of time, you will see something very surprising in a way. Yeah, when you talk about the shareholding structure. There's no like standard answer like how you allocate your shares. Our way is make sure there's one person that can make the decision if there's any argument. So that's the rules that we take. Yeah. So yeah, any questions? Sorry, I don't know if I make it very like boring session or not, but these are all the practical like suggestions or the experiences that we have as a team. So I hope this will be helpful for the startups here.
Yeah, totally. So again, any questions on the floor? So maybe just before we wrap this session up, I also ask one extra questions. So I would say that a lot of teams and a lot of teams that I've met with, they have a very good solution, and then but this solution somehow doesn't land. So therefore, it always comes to the questions: when should I start pivoting? So particularly for research, it's like they take tens of years to do a particular solution. It seems to be working, but sometimes it just ends. And I know you have mentioned a few times that be honest to themselves. they really think that it works. So what kind of like any mind-opening hacks that you need to ask them to like think further on this if we are just asking for this sort of advice?
My suggestion is really look at the numbers. So a lot of people don't believe in financial modeling because in financial modeling there are a lot of assumptions, right? But if, like you said, this is a research for 5 to 10 years, you should be able to estimate or have a more accurate assumption on those financial numbers, the operating expenses, the top line revenue, because the solution there are only a few buyers for your solution in the market, unless you are a B2C product, right? But I guess it would not. So look at the financial numbers. Financial number can tell you the answer, whether it works or not. And another thing about a financial number is I see some of the university team or professor team, their problem comes from, they always tell me, hey, I have some sales already, etc. But what I see is they have a huge research, like postdoc team. I see a team that has 40 postdoc behind, right? And they say, hey, yeah, we are making revenue, we are profitable because I have 40 like postdoc or master students helping behind the scene. That means in commercial world, you have to hire 40 person to support the whole business model, right? Mm-hmm. That means the business commercially just doesn't work. So I would say that's one way to decide whether this business model needs to pivot or not. Another thing other than the financial number is very not scientific. No, your product user will tell you if this is something that doesn't work. One, if like 5 years type of research, right? You go and talk with the potential buyer. They will just not show any interest in the product. Yes. Another, if you are facing like end consumer, that's even faster because just no one will use your feature if no one is interested. So that's the time to do the pivot. Yeah.
Yeah, be through the numbers and then benefit and cost analysis
Yes.
is some very simple but very efficient way to tell you whether you should pivot or just have some new ideas or not.
Yes, especially financial modeling. It's a very interesting thing that when you look at the number, you always want to kind of, maybe we will make some revenue in the third quarter, so I'm going to add some number in the top line. Yeah, and operating costs, we always think, no, we can do it with just 2 or 3 people there. So the operating expense is always underestimated. And then it makes the whole financial model thing not making not making it anymore.
I see. Thank you for okay, yeah.
So thank you for your presentation, Wilson. And I have a question because actually we are a startup company from Cyberport Incubation Program, and we are in a very various market in a various industries. So we may need a lot of initial capital to support our company growth. And one thing that is a really common question from VCs is that what is the valuation of your company, which is a big question for us because we are very new and we don't have that field expertise and know how to answer that question. Do we need to find like a company to value, especially we are still in the pre-seed stage, we haven't generated any revenue. So we want to know.
Sure.
What do you think?
So there are a few ways. One is my personal view. I don't think you need to find any like service company doing valuation for you because that report will become something you don't believe in because they will always use like discounted cash flow type of model and do benchmark with the market. And when you look at the number, I said like, no way it's like that number, right? And then you spend money already. So my suggestion is definitely, I don't know if there's anyone doing this business here, but no, don't get that report. That's my personal view. But secondly, because startup, right? It's basically the over-the-counter market. So there's no price tag to your shares. So there are a few baseline you can look at. One is how much share you want to sacrifice and how much money you want to raise for the next 12 to 18 months, the investor won't give you money like, oh, I'm going to give you a huge money that you can sustain for 5 years. No, that's not possible. So what they are looking at is, okay, I'm going to give you maybe 18 months of cash flow support, and you tell me what you're going to achieve in 18 months. So the valuation, I'm not talking about that, the valuation, the calculation comes from how much money you need for the next 18 months to achieve the goal, and then compare with the shares, the dilution that you can accept at that stage. And then that comes up with a more more accurate valuation. In your
Thank
mind,
you.
I would
Thank
say.
you.
Yeah.